So, for those who don't know, aside from being enthusiast of psychology, I also happen to like quantum physics a lot. I read a lot about it. Currently, I'm reading two books on it, which are so interesting. I love them. And I also like watching documentaries about it, everything about it. So, um, don't remember why I was mentioning that, but the point is that I know that nowadays a lot of people talk about manifestation, but a lot of people also like doubt it and think it's like kind of like just something like fairy tale like. And even though I'm a very skeptical person sometimes, like you could show me, I don't know, Virgin Mary in front of me, I can guarantee you I'm still gonna think like I'm hungry, it's like a dream or whatever, like, and I'm still gonna like question it. So I'm saying that because like I feel like I've read a lot about quantum physics, proven it myself in my life, read a lot about psychology. It all led me to a spiritual enlightenment. Well, not enlightenment because I'm not enlightened, but it all led me to the same point. It all led me science. I feel like the more, I mean, maybe it's just my case, but the more I knew about science, the more I knew about quantum physics, about psychology, about the more I read, the more I researched, the more it ended up leading me to spirituality. The more it ended up leading me to like its complete opposite. So, um, recently, the past 2 weeks, somehow, somewhere or another, like, I've realized how manifestation is actually so real. At least in my life, like I started understanding, realizing that everything that's happening in my life, I thought about it before it happened. I either feared it, I wished for it, whether it was a good or a bad thing, but nothing ever happened to me that I didn't purposely put an intention to. So it was my mind, through my mind, through my emotions, and feeling it through my body. And coming to that understanding, I started like, I'm not even like trying to purposely manifest something, but started changing all of my thoughts and my emotions, my state of being in general. And I definitely do see a change. But I started realizing, okay, I feel like without noticing, I'm very accustomed to thinking, feeling, and just being in a certain state that it's not good for me. It's not something that benefits me. And I started changing that little by little. I feel like little by little I'm starting to think, why was I even in that state? Like I feel like most of my surroundings were just the way I felt on the inside. And long story short, I did feel somehow I had not done a video in a while because for the past 2 weeks, when thinking of an idea for a video, all I could think of or all I felt called to talk about was manifestation. And in my mind, I was like, I promise I was not gonna do this. This was not gonna make this channel about manifestation and stuff like that. So I was waiting to get another idea, but since it never left my mind and that's all I felt called to talk about, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna do it because I just feel like that's all I'm feeling called to talk about. And so for the past 2 weeks too, somehow I started realizing that we manifest everything. I don't know, it's even weird, like I don't even know how to explain it. It's almost like I just came to the realization. And like it's like almost every single thing on our lives. And for those people who are new to manifestation or have been there for a while and haven't really purposely purposely creator or co-created their lives with manifestation, I realized that whether you believe in manifestation or not, whether you want to manifest something or not, it's not something you use. It's not a tool that, oh, I'm gonna manifest this. No, it's just the that's it's just already there. Like whether you want to manifest something or not, whether you want to use manifestation or not, that's already how your life works. But learning about manifestation and using it, it's almost like now you're actually like deciding what's best for you. I don't know if that makes sense, but I was talking to a friend. That was about 2 days ago. We were talking about relationships, and so we were talking about guys the other night, and I just started realizing how, you know, the state, the relationship with themselves was very much the guys they were talking to, and doesn't mean that it doesn't apply to me, but I guess I've been able to overcome a lot of like bad habits of like running away from my own self-love. And now that it's easier for me to just love myself without fear, because I feel like there was some fear that I had about love on the outside, but I didn't realize that somehow I was also very afraid of loving myself. I don't know why. So once I overcame that fear, it's like I felt great. I love spending time with myself. I love just waking up to me. I love doing things for me. And yeah, it's not like, I mean, I oh my god, this is embarrassing. And yeah, I mean, there's guys that like do text me, do wanna go out with me, do wanna like ask me out, but I just don't go because I don't want to. Like, I genuinely feel happy single, plus I have other things that I want to worry about or that I care about, and I'm not in a hurry. um I know for a fact that if I want a relationship, I can have it, and that but I also know that there's a relationship I deserve, which is, you know, like more than I can ever wish for. I know it's out there somewhere. I'm not in a rush to like have it right now because I just feel so good single, and I just feel so good. I just feel so good spending time with myself right now that I'm not in a hurry, right? But I was talking to a friend and I told her, don't you notice how ev- I told her, because we were talking with friends, and we were talking about love, and I told her, look, I'm not a genius, I'm not an enlightened person, but something I can tell you is whatever you're going through romantically is just a reflection of the love you have for yourself and the relationship you have towards yourself. And sometimes it is also like, I don't know, beliefs that you got from past relationships. But I noticed that, like, you know, that whatever romantic situation you are in right now just has a lot to do with yourself. And personally, whatever you put attention to it, I've realized it also manifests. Like, at some point I was in a situation where like I was in a very specific situation, and I remember there was some celebrity gossip somewhere there, and I put a lot of attention to it. I was putting a lot of attention to it, and it was about some romantic triangle. Is that, I don't know if that's the way you call it, romantic triangle. And at some point I realized I feel like I'm living that situation right now. Not that I'm like putting too much energy into it, but I realized, like, I feel like when I realized that, it was like I'm not really putting any action into it, like I'll try to do something about it. But then I realized, wasn't I putting attention to this celebrity gossip that was literally the exact same thing that resonates a lot with what I'm seeing? It's not even something I was involved in like actively, but I just could see it somewhere in my life, like an archetype. Let's call it an archetype, because I've read about archetypes too. I hope I'm making sense, because literally I'm just like talking everything out in my mind and not explaining much, but because none of my videos are planned. So that celebrity gossip. Actually, I'm just gonna mention it. No, I'm just not gonna mention it because I don't want people to pay attention to any of that celebrity gossip. Because I realized me putting attention to it, like fitting into it, I started seeing it in my life, and it's crazy. But I saw it in my life, and I was mind blown. I was like, wasn't I putting attention to some celebrity gossip that looks exactly what I'm seeing in my life? A romantic triangle. Like the person literally was the description of the people involved, aside from me, were literally the same. Like the way people will describe it, it was literally the same, and I was like, oh my god. I feel like this past 2 weeks, I'm just telling you, I've been super sensitive to noticing how I've manifested every single thing that's happening in my life, and not even for my benefit. Not even for my benefit. That's why it's very convenient for you guys to learn about manifestation, because whether you want to use it or not, it's not a tool. It's not a tool. It's not like, you know what, I'm gonna learn how to use manifestation. No, manifestation is more like a law. It's something that it's working right now in your life, whether you want to use it or not. So learning about manifestation is not learning about a tool you can use to manifest something. And instead, learning about manifestation is learning about the true nature of who you are as a magnet. You can, and for those people who like think it's bullshit and everything, because I used to think it was bullshit too. Like I was a very skeptical person. Um, one day I'm gonna make a video on it because I was literally like the craziest thing. Like I literally didn't even believe in God. All was science, all was everything, and now I'm here talking to you guys about manifestation and 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 high vibes and whatever other thing I'll talk about. But like I said, it's manifestation is not like, oh, I'm gonna learn how to manifest things so I can manifest money and my dream career and everything. Manifestation is who you are. So when you don't, when you can be like me, because when I first learned about manifestation, I was like, you know what, I don't know how to do it, so I'm just not gonna do it because I don't know how to use it, and I'm just gonna go about my life. Maybe it's not for me. And a year later, I realized, you know what? It's not about learning how to use it. It's working in your life, whether you use it or not. And I think they say this in that one movie, The Secret. They tell you, it's not a tool. It's not a game. It's not like, oh my god, I'm gonna learn it, or oh, it's not for me. It is. It is because it's already working in your life. You're already using it. That's the word I was looking for. You're already using it. It's not about, oh, I'm gonna use it. Oh no, I'm not gonna use it. You're using it. You're using it. Whether you're aware of it or not, whether you want it or not, you're using it. Because it's not a tool. Manifestation is not a thing. It's not a tool. It's who you are. It's the true nature of who you are, of this world, of everything. So learning how to use it, it's not really deciding to use it. It's deciding to use this true nature that you're already using it, whether you want it or not, to change it to your favor. And the thing is, changing it to your favor is actually way, the natural way of God, because God really doesn't want us to suffer. And as someone who grew up Catholic, it was a really hard thing to understand, because you get the message, or maybe it was just me who got the message from Catholicism, that God liked those who suffered, and like he wanted us to suffer, or that we were seen in good eyes by him if we did suffer. But for some reason, now I've been coming to understanding that God is love, God is light, God is compassionate, God is joy. So why will God want you to live on the opposite of that? It's just not the thing. And so, I mean, obviously there's reasons why the opposite exists, but since right now I'm literally still learning, I won't get too much into it, because I've known people that I've learned from them and they understand, but even though I've heard what they say, I still don't fully understand it from the heart. So I won't get into it. I won't talk about it. But um, I don't know if this video is gonna cut any moment. You guys know I'm terrible at editing videos, and what else? Yeah, that, and also no phone storage working on it. But if it cuts, I'm just gonna cut it. Anyways, won't waste time explaining that. So yeah, this past 2 weeks, I've been super sensitive to realizing like I've manifested everything in my life. And yeah, I used to be somebody who was like had a lot of anxiety, was very fearful, etc., etc. So I literally will manifest terrible things because just for being afraid of that. Which in a book, by the way, for those who don't know, for those who believe in the Bible, I mean, I read the Bible too, and the Bible says whatever you have faith on, you can trust that it will happen. Your faith can move mountains. But what people don't know is that there's faith in the good. That's faith. But then there's fear. And for those who didn't know, I read this book, and this book explained how, I think it was a metaphysics book. Yeah, it was a metaphysics book by Connie Mendes. She said, fear is nothing but faith in the bad. So it is a type of faith. So if you're gonna choose between having faith in the bad or faith in the good, you might as well have faith in the good, right? Because you can attract it, you will attract it. Trust me, I've seen it in my own life, and people have seen it in their own lives. I've heard so many people say you can attract things that you fear, and I will not take the risk of attracting it. I will not. I rather have faith in the good. Like wake up and be like, oh, imagine all the good things that could happen instead of thinking of all the bad things that can happen. Even if it happens or not, what's the matter? Like, what's the matter with thinking of everything that could go right instead of everything that could go wrong? Instead of scaring yourself with absolutely everything that could go wrong in your life, even if it's not gonna happen, so why not do the opposite? I've personally been changing that because it's like so many of us torment ourselves with things that are not even gonna happen, that like we're afraid of, or we're like, oh my god, what if this happened? What if this happened? Or like being ready for the worst at all times instead of imagining of all the things that are going okay, and knowing that whatever happens you're gonna be okay, and thinking of all the things that go right. I've been changing all of that, and it's been really like, helping me a lot. Then I can see, like, I feel like in about a week or two my reality with a lot of things has changed too. And like I said, I used to be a very skeptical person, so I'm learning how not to be, because I feel like personally I've had a lot of spiritual experiences that are like out of the ordinary and crazy. And no, I'm not talking about going to a psychedelic trip. It was more like just something happening that it was like no explanation, and there's no way I'm still like in denial. And I feel like a lot of us, I'm pretty sure not the only one that's gone through like certain spiritual experience that like was so impactful. Like it had so much impact in you, and you somehow still are in denial, or thinking, oh, maybe I was like hallucinating, or maybe it was just like, I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, whatever it is. I feel like I'm not the only one. So the reason I feel like my last message for this manifestation thing is, try it. I mean, what can you lose by trying? What are you gonna lose by being more positive, by thinking of good scenarios instead of bad scenarios, choosing happiness over things that don't make you happy, choosing to try to love yourself more, to try to believe good things instead of bad things? What can you possibly lose? Time? I mean, you're already wasting your time thinking of those bad things, so why not think those good things? I hope I explain myself like enough, but I do, I'm just been realizing like a couple of weeks uh, ago, started realizing like how many things like I manifested, whether they were bad or they were good, and I started realizing everything. I started being aware of, becoming aware of everything that was in my mind and in my state of being, everything that I was entertaining, and I decided to change it. And I can see how I feel so much different now because I was thinking of the things that were on the outside without realizing that I probably attracted them. So why keep giving attention to it? And like I realized, like the moment I started realizing we attract everything, or like we can really attract like anything. I paused and I was like, okay, what am I thinking constantly right now? What is my state of being? What am I keeping like my focus on? And I realized it was not very good things. So I was like, so what if I entertain good things? Like, doesn't hurt. I mean, I don't need to be thinking of these things. They haven't even happened and I'm entertaining them. So start entertaining good things. And I think like I mean oh my god, I'm a very skeptical person, but even though I'm talking about this, but I actually like have received like 3 different checks for money right now. Like some more money too. So I mean, doesn't hurt. But even with relationships and with other things, it's mind blowing, honestly. Like right now I'm like really mind blown. But my only message is that is try it. Try it. Realize what you're thinking of, what you're entertaining, what you're giving your attention to. Maybe just because you're used to or because you're scared, and try to change it. Yeah, I mean you can actively work on like solving whatever's around you while changing your thoughts. You don't need to be completely delusional. It's nothing like that. Um, it's I just keep talking about it because I'm just mind blown. Like I'm telling you, that celebrity gossip that I was paying attention to, I started seeing it in my life, and it was like exactly the same. It was like exactly the same, and I was mind blown because I was like, I can. So I put attention to that too much. I feel like I assumed a couple of things from that, and now I see it in my life. And started realizing some things that I went through that were not as pleasant or that were good or maybe not as good. I started realizing, oh my god, I can remember a time 5 or 4 months before that happened, where I was thinking of it with full intention, where I was embodying it almost like that experience. And 5 months later, I found myself there, but not everything was like bad, you know. I started remembering times where like there was no way something could have happened. Like I had like no like like I remember this time I needed to pay college. I had no money at all whatsoever, and I also wanted a car. And I decided, you know what, I'm gonna work all summer, like full time, and I'm gonna get myself a car. So what happened is I got a job, and I was promised I was gonna get literally every single shift. Like I was gonna work every single shift, because I'm never really struggled to like be a hard worker. Like I wouldn't mind. So what happened is that the reason I was gonna get all shifts is because the 2 other girls, one of the girls was gonna become a manager, and she was gonna be in the kitchen, and the other girl was gonna quit because she had to go to school or something like that. So what happened is that none of that happened, and now we were too many people, and I was getting barely like $300 a month. No. I don't remember how much money I was getting, but it was not a lot. So I started waking up super early. Like I started eating only like egg and bread, like literally, and water, and just like trying to save money. Well, long story short, by the end of that summer, I got like $10,000, no, $12,000 to pay college in scholarships. I don't know where. I just got an email, and I also found a car that was 3,000, and the school told me that that money I could spend it for a car if I wanted to. I got it. I got everything I wanted. And I remember writing it in a book. I remember praying as if I had already gotten it. And literally, I had no proof that I was gonna get any of that. I was working a job that I thought was gonna be full time, and I wasn't. I was barely working to get any money or eat more than like eggs and whatever I was eating. And I still, by the end of the summer, I still got it. And that's something I've also been remembering, so not everything's bad. Um, so I'll try to make some more videos because honestly, right now, maybe I'm just processing it still. And there's so much more to talk about. Honestly, there's so much information I have. Um, but I'll leave you guys with like what I remember I was doing during that summer, because back then I remember reading in the Bible that it said that to not ask God for things, but instead thanking God for those things that you want. Not necessarily just those things that you have. I mean, that helps if you are thankful for the things that you have and finding the good side of everything. But you can really thank God for the things that you want as if you already had them. So I remember that summer what I was doing. I didn't even do it like all summer long. I think I did it for like 3 weeks or something. I don't know. It was like 20 days. Some I don't know. It wasn't even too many days, to be honest. But I remember like kneeling and in front of my bed with my hands like this, because that's the way I was taught to pray. I was kneeling down in front of my bed. I was putting my hands like this, closing my eyes, and sometimes opening too, just to imagine some things. And I was praying like this. I was telling God, "Dear God, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much because I have so much money. Like, it's crazy. I would say I have so much money, enough money to pay school, to get a car, and for so much more." So I was praying like that. And sometimes I will open my eyes occasionally just to imagine a bunch of money in my bed. And I will imagine money on my bed, in the floor, and in the drawers, just because it was a lot easier for me to imagine money physically than in a card, because back then I had just gotten my first credit card, so for me money was still like something physically that you see. So I was doing that, and I wouldn't get out of like that kneeling position until like managed to fully embody the feeling of I already having it, like already having it, like the money was actually there and everything I was saying was true. And just being very thankful and telling God, thank you so much. I am so thankful. Thank you because of all this money that I'm seeing. So I'm not even joking when I say that by the end of the summer, even though I had a job that was like, I feel like probably I worked 3 days was probably a crazy thing for how much I was working. I was barely working anything, and even though I had the intention of getting a full-time job, and like things happened that didn't go according to my plans. But I was eating eggs for breakfast and probably dinner too, and whatever they would give me at that restaurant I will eat too, and was not spending a single coin or anything else, and barely working, barely getting any money enough for rent and for buying those three like, I don't know, buying eggs. I was probably buying eggs, milk, and those pancake mix that were like full thing, and just eating that like all day, every single day. Was barely getting any money, nothing. And but I was doing this at night, and I'm not even joking when I say that by the end of that summer, I had a car. I had more than enough money for college. Like my the money I had to pay for college was, I can guarantee you, a lot less than all the money I got in scholarships. And I applied for one of the scholarships, but the other one I didn't even apply for. I just got a mail from my college telling me congratulations because you've been paying this past um, college this last what do you call it, this last bills. Now we grant you with this scholarship money or whatever, and they gave me $6,000, 3,000 for each semester. I didn't even look for it. They just they just sent me an email. And the other scholarship, I wasn't even sure they were gonna give it to me, but they did. So I got the car. I got more than enough money, more than what I needed for college, which is what I asked for. But that's not it. I also got another job, and this job I was making more than $100 a day just in tips. Like, it was literally like a Mexican restaurant job, and I became a server there. And we get getting paid like $2 an hour, but in tips it was like I was making, I think the most I made is one night I made like more than $200 just on tips, and I was working 6 days a week, but like that means I was making like probably about $700 a week, I will say, plus all the money that I had. So that's something that I really remembered, and it was like I feel like I don't know, somebody or something is wanting me to remember this, and this is no joke. Like, this is something that happened to me, and when I started remembering that, I was like, that's crazy how I had an intention of having all of these things, and I had a plan for it, which was working full time all summer, and my plan didn't go the way I did it, the way I planned it, and somehow I still got everything I intended by the end of the summer. So I don't know if any of that helps, but nowadays when I pray, I thank God. I thank God for everything, and especially I thank Him for those things that I want, even if I still don't see them in my life. It's like I know they're there. I know they're there because I'm being thankful for them. Like, in no way I will ever say I don't see them, or I like, oh, they're not there. I wouldn't say that, because in like my heart, I feel like if I'm thanking God, then it's already on its way to me. I mean, whether it's true or not, who cares? Makes me feel happy. But something tells me that, yeah, if I keep thanking God, I'll eventually see it in my life. That's I feel like all I have for today. This is probably my longest video. I'm always very worried about making my videos too long, but if it's something that I know it can bring like some sort of message to people, or some answer they've been waiting for or praying for, then I mean, I hope then if you watch this, they give you that message or that sign you were looking for. And hope you enjoyed it at least. Just probably my last thing I will say is that don't lose your faith, don't give up. Like, just because you can see a reason to be hopeful, or those things that you were looking for, doesn't mean they're not there, doesn't mean they're not coming, doesn't mean they're not on their way, because I think they are on their way. And that's what I feel called to say. I don't know if it's something that resonates with somebody, but I definitely feel called to say that. So love to everybody. I'm always very happy to upload. I've been gaining more followers. I'm really happy about that. I've been putting any attention to try to reach $100 before New Year's, so I'm gonna see if I can do that. Definitely will upload more, and just love you all, even though I don't know you, and I wish nothing but the best for every single person that's watching this, and also every single person that's not watching this.